Back to America now and to the new NFL season, which kicked off this week. The season opener was very emotional for the New York Jets, who hosted the Cincinnati Bengals on 9/11, 15 years after the attack on the World Trade Center, not far from their MetLife Stadium. The game was obviously very important, but it was only secondary this time to the memorial for those who died that morning at the Twin Towers. i24News' Michael Friedman was at MetLife Stadium, and he brings us this report.
The first NFL Sunday, September 11th. Week 1 of the NFL season featured extensive ceremonies all throughout the league in remembrance of the victims of 9/11. Here in MetLife Stadium, just over the river from Manhattan, the Jets taking on the Bengals. And the 15th anniversary of the attacks is still embedded in the minds of local fans. The Jets supporters made it a point to show their love of New York and hope to see Gang Green deliver on the field.
9/11, never forget. God bless them.
As is tradition in the States, before the game they gathered outside the stadium to tailgate, barbecuing with friends and family. And while every game brings out enthusiastic Jets followers, this specific game on this particular day allowed for something even more special.
I think the Jets are going to win a Super Bowl this year, but more than anything, it's about the United States today, and get a chance to forget about what happened 15 years ago and enjoy some football today, and happy to be back.
The away fans were fewer to come by, but that did not prevent Bengals lovers from being heard around the stadium. Sports has the opportunity to bring rival teams together, and once again, the camaraderie was on display.
You know, we're very humbled to be here in New York. It's one of the most tragic days in United States history. The way our country bounced back and to see how everyone's come together. It's an important day.
Just before kickoff, a special tribute was made, including President Barack Obama on the big screen. It was a tight-fought game, but in the end, only one team could walk away on top. The Cincinnati Bengals beat the New York Jets 23-22 on the road. But bigger than anything is the pride and the heart by all the Americans together 15 years after 9/11. Mike Catapano grew up in New York and remembers sitting in his classroom in the 6th grade when the World Trade Centers were hit.
Obviously, it was a truly devastating day. You know, I thought about, 15 years ago, I saw the United States come together after that. And I kind of felt that today. You know, the stadium was together today, and something so terrible can bring people together.
Although the Jets fell short in front of their hometown fans, the players still hope they were able to shed some light on those watching.
It was very emotional, and today was very electric. The crowd was very into it, and we felt as a team that it was a letdown today for the city as well, New York City and Jersey as well.
The Jets have lost, but on a day like this, it seems like America has won.
And joining me here in the studio is our American sports analyst, Danny Swibel. Hi, Danny. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
So, Danny, 9/11, New York, it's a big deal. We just saw.
It's amazing. 15 years, and obviously the commemorations throughout the country, throughout the world, have been nothing short of spectacular. And this is embodied in NFL, which is always looked at as a very American sport. Obviously, it's only really played mostly in the United States, and they definitely did it in high fashion.
And while this, as you say, patriotism is embedded in football and American sport, the other major headline was Kaepernick and him not standing up during the national anthem. This isn't going anywhere, and it seems like many people waited for someone like Kaepernick to do what he does.
Absolutely. This is a major, I think, turning point in NFL history. Right now, Roger Goodell, the head of the league, is in a bit of an uncomfortable position because on one hand, you have strong patriots, what we classify as the typical kind of American patriots. But then the other patriot that is the one who actually questions things, who stands up, who protests.
Since when is it illegal to protest and criticize?
So yes, we've seen in all these weeks just outrage at Kaepernick's behavior, but this has actually inspired a lot of people as well, and for people to stand behind him saying, no, this is his right, this is what makes America great, is the fact that you can stand up and that you don't have to bow your head to any god, any king. You can say what you want to say, and he chose to say it by sitting on the bench. Now, as we've seen in this past weekend, it inspired people to protest in different ways, not necessarily sit sitting. Some people took a kneel. Some teammates or NFL stood up, but they locked arms. Some raised their fists in the air. So they definitely wanted to say, hey, no, we love America. 9/11, we definitely are with the country, but at the same time, we still are going to fight to make it better.
Non-violent protest, not breaking any law. I don't see any problem on that.
Me either. No.
And one final question, finally get to the game. Let's look at the Panthers. We spoke about them ahead of the Super Bowl. We saw them as great favorites. They lost. Now they lost the season opener. Judging by history, it's going to be very tough for them to go back to the Super Bowl, not to mention win it.
Oh, it's going to be tricky. You know, on any given Sunday, anything could happen. And so sometimes you have teams that were, you know, very poor one year and then go to the Super Bowl the next year. It remains to be seen if Carolina could relive what they did last year. Obviously, they still have a lot of pieces in place. And, you know, their leader, Cam Newton, is definitely going to take them far. But that's the thing. You know, one little thing changes. Certain dynamics on the offensive line, the defensive line could change anything.
Well, it's been a very interesting weekend. Danny Soebel, this is your last time with us. I want to thank you very much for today and for all the times you've been with us. Always a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Very good times with you, man.
Same here, and that's it for this edition. Don't forget, you can watch this and every other show on our website at i24news.tv. You can also find us on Facebook and on Twitter. We'll be back here next weekend with a look at some of the biggest stories of the week. Till then, thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your weekend.